Hi everyone, today I'll be doing a review on the anime Ranpo Kitan. The animation was done by Studio Lurch and the script was done by Koto Uezo. He has worked on other animes such as Danganronpa, Devil Survivor 2, and Katanagatari, but he's also worked on shows like A Come Got Kill, School Days, and he currently does Boruto, which is mediocre as all hell. So he's definitely not consistent with the quality of the shows he does, but that is besides the point. Now, Ranpo Kitan is interesting for the fact that it's based off the works of a classic Japanese writer called Ranpo Edogawa. He's essentially the Edgar Allan Poe of Japanese literature. His works are very morbid and sometimes sexual deviant, like many people will call it. There's actually a link in the description below that to an article from Anime News Network that describes the symbolism in the show and how it relates to Ranpo Edogawa. So essentially, the main character of the show is called Kobayashi. He's really bored with life, and he's only interested when he's put in these dangerous situations and has to solve morbid mysteries. Now, I'm going to kind of spoil the first two episodes because they really give you a good look at how the characters are like and the tone of the series. Kobayashi wakes up in his classroom and he's framed for this murder. His homeroom teacher was not disemboweled. He was cut up so that he would resemble a chair. Now that's a really gruesome murder in and of itself. And the police, they naturally think it's him. Everyone else thinks it was him, and the only person who thinks Kobayashi is innocent is his friend Hashiba. And what's another interesting about Kobayashi is the fact that he looks exactly like a woman. And so because of this, Hashiba kind of has a crush on him, and it's really just a funny thing to watch. Now, originally, I didn't like Kobayashi's character design because he was pretty much just a trap for the sake of being a trap. But over time, he grew on me, and I really love Kobayashi as a character, and I like his design too. So basically, the first two episodes, are spent on trying to find out who is the true killer of the homeroom teacher, and one of the police members is Akichi. Now, Akichi is this guy. He is just apathetic to most things. He's rude. He's easily annoyed. He seems to just hate people in general, but he's just one of those cool jerk characters. You know they're a jerk, but you still love them anyway. He's a really cool guy. So basically, they team up and try to find out, who the true killer is. And the end of the second episode, it's revealed that the homeroom teacher was really a serial killer the whole time. But it's not like how you think it is, because the people he kills were all his girlfriends who consented to it. You see, the teacher has this weird fascination where he wants to turn his lovers into human chairs to show how much he truly loved them or something. And yeah, the girlfriends consented to this, and they all decided to be cut up by him and be turned to chairs, and it's all weird. And in the end, it turns out that one of Kobayashi's classmates framed him because the homeroom teacher fell in love with Kobayashi, so she felt jealous because she wanted to be the one that gets turned into a chair. So it's just so weird. And this is what turned off a lot of people because it's like, oh, this is so weird. This would never happen in real life. I don't understand this, blah, blah, blah. But they miss the entire point of the show. The whole point of the show is the surrealism, how weird the villains are. And that's really what drew me to the series. This series is very surreal. I would call it dark, but it's not essentially dark because he always keeps this upbeat tone and it's so tongue-in-cheek about everything, but when it wants to be depressing, it's really depressing. So essentially, every episode is spent on a new case, on these new killers, and over time, this is an overarching villain, which is actually multiple people called 20 Faces. Now, the modus operandi of 20 Faces is to get justice to killers who never got justice. What that means is that there are certain killers who escaped the justice system because they pleaded for insanity and never got to spend the necessary time they needed to be in jail. So people became vigilantes and started killing other killers. In a sense, they became serial killers. Now that's a really interesting concept, and I actually found it to be really interesting. And one of the police members on the show is actually part of 20 Faces, and I predicted who it was. I wouldn't say it was obvious, but if you have a keen eye for detail, you might know who it is, like me. I thought it was really. I was really surprised. I guess who it was. Who it was. I was so impressed by myself. And yeah, that's the show. Let me talk about the animation real quick. The animation is one of the most visually appealing things I've seen in TV anime. Not in terms of detail or the fluidness, but in how abstract and surreal everything is. It's just so visually appealing. It's very similar to a Studio Shaft anime. If you're familiar with Studio Shaft works, particularly the Monogatari series, this animation is very similar to that. It pops out. That's the most I can say about it. It really just pops out, and that's really interesting. So now this anime is kind of off-putting because it's not your normal mystery anime. The stuff that happens is kind of surreal. It's not exactly supernatural, but it's definitely not grounded in reality either. It's very, very just out there. So if you're into surrealism and stuff like that, then this is probably the anime for you. And another thing to note is that Ikichi, the jerk from before, he turns out to have a connection with the final villain, who is the mastermind behind 20 Faces. And I also want to notice how, I also want to bring out how the leader of 20 Faces, I'm not going to say his name, mostly because I kind of forgot what his name in the first place. I want to say that the backstories of 20 Face, the mastermind of 20 Faces, and the first culprit of 20 Faces, the backstory for them are just really dark. And matter of fact, the backstories for all the members of 20 Faces that get fleshed out are just really dark. They're really depressing and just well written. That's the backstories are one of the most well written aspects of the show, and I really enjoyed that. I give props to Makoto Uezo. He can be a good script writer when he truly wants to be. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. This is a really straightforward anime. I guess it's deeper if you're familiar with Ranpo Edagawa, because I did some research and the episodes really do make a lot of references to his works. There's a lot of allegory. Well, I wouldn't say allegory, but it's just references. I'm kind of like reimaginings. That's the proper term. Reimaginings of certain aspects from the novels, and I found it to be interesting. I never actually read the novels, but I might read them later on if I could find them online. So, if you're a fan of the mystery genre, you should probably check this out. And and you know what? This might sound weird. I might start doing reviews on Lifetime Movie Network movies. I think that would be a cool thing because I don't want to just stick to anime all the time. I decided I might do Lifetime Movie Network movies because those are just really entertaining to watch if you're in a certain type of mood. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Ranpo Kitan. It's a really great anime if you give it a chance, but I can understand if you're not into it. Oh, I also want to say that the opening and ending songs are really just amazing. They're catchy, they get stuck in your head, and the visuals for opening endings are just visually impressive like the show itself. So yeah, please check out Ranpo Kitan, if not for the characters or the plots. Just do it for the animation, because trust me, the animation during certain scenes is just really amazing. So yeah, please check out this underrated anime.